Monday, August 7th, 2006, 5:15 p.m. The most sophisticated bank robbery in Washington state history. A four-man team led by two special operators swept a Bank of America in Tacoma, Washington. One FBI agent would later describe the event as executed with elite military-style precision and planning. They carried enough weaponry, according to prosecutors, to create a bloodbath in the streets of Tacoma. Luke Elliott Summer was born on June 6, 1986 in Peachland, British Columbia. He later joined the Army on June 6, 2003. After completing one-station unit training, Summer attended and completed airborne school at Fort Benning before attending the infamous Ranger Indoctrination Program, now known as RASP. Summer was sent to the 2nd Battalion's 75th Ranger Regiment. Summer was at the unit for less than 3 weeks before he was shipped to Baghdad, Iraq, where he remained until September 2004. After returning from Iraq, Summer conducted Ranger convalescent skill training, which includes hot wiring vehicles, operating heavy machines, and basic EMT courses. After spending 6 months stateside, Summer was again deployed, but this time to Afghanistan. When Summer returned from Afghanistan in September 2005, he was sent to Ranger School, a 61-day leadership program where young soldiers are pushed to their absolute limits.
Get up there! Hurry up! Ranger, what is wrong with you?
Summer spent nearly 7 months completing the highly prestigious military leadership school, and although he restarted the school twice, Summer managed to complete the school on April 7, 2006, earning his TAP. While waiting for his next deployment, Summer and his Ranger buddies in Barracks Building 3475 spun fantasies late into the night about applying their training to American civilian settings. Summer kept pushing these ideas further and further until the next thing anyone knew, he and a few other Rangers were pulling reconnaissance on the nearby Chips Casino. Summer began sharing this fantasy with friends back in Canada, such as 20-year-old Tigra Robertson, a member of the Canadian Military Reserves, and 18-year-old Nathan Dunmall, a civilian. Summer spelled out the plan to Robertson via text message. In a July 30th, 2006 exchange, Summer wrote, "We're going to hit this casino, and we have a solid plan. We have a driver, 2 Rangers, and you 2. So I hope you're ready to fucking rock and roll." Robertson replied, "Fuck yeah." Summer replied, "Chance it might go North Hollywood, so I really hope you're in the mood." On August 3rd, 2006, Alex Blum drove Summer to the Bank of America in Tacoma, Washington, for what the two Rangers referred to as close tactical recon. Summer scoped his target where he had a checking account. He surveyed the room, and then he spotted it, a 2-foot space between the top of the bandit barrier and the ceiling. Back at the barracks, he mapped out distances to and from the bank using Google Earth, and spent hours studying news articles about robberies, learning from the mistakes of less careful robbers. By Sunday, August 6, Robertson and Dunmall had arrived by bus from Canada. Summer led them along with Ranger Chad Palmer to Noble Hill, the 400-foot mountain that rises behind the Ranger barracks. He laid out sandbags and stuck sticks into the dirt to mark the bank's floor plan and the building's exact distance from the alley where Blum, who'd agreed to be the driver, would park his car. Then the 4 men ran the distance in full gear, armor, and weapons. They rehearsed every step over and over again. Who would stand where and for how long? Summer's squad was ready for the mission. On the early evening of August 7th, Robertson handed out the weapons. The 2 AK-47s for Palmer and Dunmall, a 9mm Glock pistol with a red dot for Summer, and a Springfield 9mm for himself. Dunmall tossed a bag with several hundred rounds of ammunition over his shoulder. They grabbed frag grenades, flashbangs, suited up in body armor, and piled in Alex Blum's vehicle. With Alex Blum behind the wheel, the 4 men arrived at Bank of America branch in South Tacoma at 5:14 p.m. They entered the bank at 5:15 and the robbery began. Palmer and Dunmall with automatic weapons covered the bank's entrance, while the other two with handguns moved swiftly to confront the tellers. As the robbery commenced, the countdown began. One of the door guards began to call out the elapsed time like something straight out of a fucking movie. Summer vaulted over the teller counter and barged behind the bandit barrier into the cages, ordering the tellers to only hand over stacks of bandit 20s, 50s, and $100 bills, and gave further orders not to include any bait money with pre-recorded serial numbers or die packs. His assistant collected the money from the teller station and took $20,000 from a money cart inside the vault. At the 2-minute mark, the timekeeper shouted, "Let's go." The four men exited the bank with $54,011. They slipped through the back door, successfully robbing the bank in just 2 minutes and 21 seconds. But things almost took a major shit. As the men ran down a side street into an alley, the getaway car wasn't there. The driver had panicked and started driving back to the base. He realized he was going the opposite direction of the base and made a U-turn. With rifles and duffel bags in hand, the men saw him make the U-turn and assumed he must have been driving down the street to turn around to catch up to his fellow bank robbers. The three men ran to the car and made their getaway. The driver, Alex Blum, played it off like he was in fact making a U-turn and not fleeing the crime scene. Blum dropped Palmer, Robertson, and Dunmall off at a movie theater where they laid low in a darkened theater, eating popcorn, watching a horror movie. Much tactics, many operator. Blum and Summer then headed back to the base, ditched their gear in Summer's room. Blum flew home to Denver the next morning. Summer, Robertson, and Dunmall busted back to Canada. FBI Special Agent Monte Shade arrived at 5813 South Tacoma Way a little after 5:30 p.m., only 15 minutes after the robbery occurred. The parking lot was already full of Tacoma's White Crown Victoria police cars. In his 8 years with the FBI's Pierce County Violent Crimes Task Force, Shade had investigated nearly 400 bank robberies. Most were easy to solve, the majority being crackheads trying to get their fix and get some crack. Right away, Shade knew this one was different. 4 young men, maybe aged 19 to 21, 2 with rifles, 2 with pistols. Then Shade, who'd also spent 8 years on a SWAT team, reviewed the security footage and noticed these guys were definitely using close quarter battle tactics. He noticed how the 2 men holding the door did a great job in their sector, which is their AOR, or Area of Responsibility. Special Agent Shade also took note of how one robber went flying onto the counter, grabbing the top of the 8-foot bandit barrier with one hand and vaulting himself over to the other side, a move that requires some form of athleticism. At the bank, a witness came forward who took down the license plate of the vehicle. These idiots left the front license plate on Blum's vehicle. After running the plate, the RO came back to a Norm and Alex Blum of Greenwood Village in Denver. Reviewing the close quarter battle tactics on the security video, Special Agent Shade suspected a military connection. He drove to Fort Lewis the next day and asked the Provost Marshal if a Norm or Alex Blum was a soldier there. The inquiry brought him to the barracks building 3475. Most of the Rangers had cleared out for a 2-week leave, but Shade pressed a few stragglers who admitted seeing Blum, Palmer, and Summer with a large amount of cash the night before. One by one, the robbers got picked up by authorities. The FBI nabbed Alex Blum in Denver, Chad Palmer in full dress uniform, as him and his family were leaving their house in Chesapeake for family pictures when a SWAT team swarmed in. Nathan Dunmall was arrested in British Columbia, Robertson surrendered at the Canadian-American border, and as for Summer in Peachland, he was quoted as saying, "My fucking dad turned me in." On December 15th, 2008, Summer was sentenced to 24 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release for conspiracy to commit armed bank robbery, brandishing a firearm during and in relation to a violent crime, and possession of an unregistered destructive device, aka a fucking grenade. Summer was also sentenced to an additional 20 years in prison on March 8th, 2010 for assaulting a co-defendant and plotting to kill a federal prosecutor. All of the other defendants in the case entered guilty pleas in 2006. Chad Palmer was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Tigra Robertson was sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. Alex Blum was sentenced on March 6, 2009 for a total of 16 months after he Tekashi 6ix9ed everyone else involved. Nathan Dunmall was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Scott Byrne, who assisted in planning the heist, was sentenced to 8 months in prison. Thank fucking God the situation didn't turn into a firefight with law enforcement. Summer claims he did the robbery to bring attention to war crimes and other allegations involving Task Force 626. But it was later revealed that the money stolen was intended to create a motorcycle gang that would rival the motorcycle gangs controlling crime in fucking Canada. It's fucking stupid. This guy's an idiot. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like my historical crime breakdowns, be sure to check out my Norco shootout. I also have my Dorner video, and there's a lot more of these to come. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss them. And also so we can get to 100K. We're almost there. Fuck. All right, thanks for watching. Goodbye.